Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about the Ultimates issue 14 by Dennis Camp, Juan Frigeri and Federico Blee. The Ultimates continue their assault on the Makers Cabal and their operations, this time targeting some Roxxon pipeline facility. As they scout the base, Captain America notes how they've beefed up security, almost like someone warned them ahead of time, maybe a certain wasp-sized mole the team has to deal with very soon. Hawkeye doesn't care about the extra guards, letting loose an arrow on the facility as they bet Cap that they could get sorted out in 20 minutes. Camp refocusing on small groups within the Ultimates is definitely the right move, since balancing out characters, giving them meaningful stories, and then moving obviously the big Maker plot forward since we're only 4 months away from his return isn't something we can do every single issue. So pairing it back to 2 or 3 characters, kind of easing people into these storylines and, seeing these characters go off on a mission is a great idea. And even better when it's Cap and Hawkeye, both the oldest member of the team and then the youngest, newest member of the team, both who, while want the same end goal, have pretty different ideologies on how to deal with things and don't particularly get along with each other. While the attack takes place, Rex Bonhurst, CEO of Roxxon, summons his competition, telling them that their biggest threat isn't each other, it's the Ultimates, so he's happy that they could put aside their differences in service of their bottom lines. Camp gives us a quick rundown on where the Ultimates have been up to, what they're doing, and how it's gathered together the titans of industry, like Justine Hammer, Nicodemus West, AIM scientists, and Oberlet Midas, all suffering thanks to the hero's antics. And we also get some explanation on the Ultimates app, which is the app that he introduced last issue where people can come and post like real news without it being doctored by the hand, and kind of getting through the fake news screen that the hand and everyone have set up. The way it's able to get through is thanks to the Stark Tech, as AIM scientist 1983 reveals that the Stark Tech is in pretty much all of their own hardware thanks to Howard Stark, being that he was part of the Cabal when he was alive. And with the app using all of its framework as well, it can get through and around their systems, and they can't do anything about it unless they do a full reset and restructure of every piece of technology they have. While I don't think an explanation for the app was needed, I do appreciate that Camp tied it back to Howard Stark being one of those people who was part of the Cabal, and he, set up Stark Tech and they used his technology all throughout the world, and Tony has now taken advantage of that. Rex also mentions Oberlet's father Midas was paralyzed by the team and his prisons all overrun by the prisoners, leading to the prisons becoming schools for the revolution. The group want to know what their silent partner thinks of all of this, and Rex knows that he has sent them his fixer, who will sort out their problems, but for a price. Cap and Hawkeye meanwhile take down the Roxxon facility in 18 minutes as the board members meet with Emma Frost, who in this universe is not really all too different from her 616 counterpart, except, she's proper evil here. Emma, as it turns out, runs a school, the Frost's School for Wayward Youngsters, and her students will be helping out in this situation. So this is a really awesome twist. Emma is effectively running the Xavier Mansion, effectively running the X-Men and using them as fixers for the world's rich and elite. If that's a premise that doesn't deserve a book, I don't know what does. That would be a fantastic sister book to the current Ultimate X-Men book, where you get something a little different and then you get this, which is much more of the structured X-Men in a mansion type thing, working against in their eyes villains. In this case they're working for the rich elite. I think that would be an interesting idea. Emma uses her powers on the boardroom to allow them to remote view 2 of her students out in the field as Cap and Hawkeye finish up soldiers. Then in a blink of an eye, Captain America disappears as he is grabbed by Pietro Maximoff, a speedster whose powers allow him to move at 4 times the speed of sound. Pietro isn't the only one there, as Hawkeye meets Wanda Maximoff, who when she is upset, bad things happen thanks to her magical abilities. These 2 characters were bound to appear sooner rather than later. They are kind of like a staple for the Ultimates universe, only this time I hope it's a lot less incesty and weird. Hawkeye barely stands a chance against the Scarlet Witch as Cap tries to shield himself from Quicksilver's fury of super speed punches. Thanks to his speed, Pietro moves so quickly and punches so fast that his fists begin to catch fire from the friction when he hits Captain America, knocking the hero back. We do get a bit of their backstory, as the twins were found in a Eurasian weapons lab by Emma Frost. I guess maybe they were kind of like offshoots of the Ultimate Wolverine. I haven't been keeping up with that book, so maybe they're mentioned there, maybe they're not, but that sounds like the same sort of lab that Wolverine was made in. As she thinks the twins are going to handle the problem with ease, Cap notices the friction Quicksilver generates, telling Hawkeye to blow the Roxxon pipeline around them, telling them that they need the crude oil to spill out. We learn some pretty surprising revelations about Charlie here, as they cannot aim the bow without the Hawkeye suit, which was doing pretty much all of the work for him, and thanks to Wanda, it's targeting targeting systems were deactivated. I know we're getting a Hawkeye special very soon which will dive deeper into the character of Charlie, but I like the little bits that Camp has been giving on them and how they weren't meant for the Hawkeye suit. They found it, but they are the right person for it in the right moment, and I imagine they are going to eventually learn how to use a bow without the costume. There's this neat little bit here as well where Charlie assumes that Cap thinks they can use a bow because they are Native American, but Cap quickly nips that in the bud and is like, look, I don't care, you need to just shoot that pipeline right now. It's nothing about like race or like where you come from or whatnot, just shoot that bow right now. This is some of the stuff I kind of wish we got a little bit more of between these two characters, because they were set up kind of as like complete polar opposites. You've got the old man with the old man values, you know, just fresh out of the ice, and you have the young new millennial who's just joined the team as well. They can't be further from each other, and I kind of wish we got a little bit more of that clash, because while they do clash, they also share a lot of the same principles. They want to help the world, they want to bring the revolution to the world, they just have different ways of doing it, and I kind of hoped that we would get to see a little bit more of that in this issue, but we didn't really get that. Cap demands that Charlie take the shot as Pietro charges him, angered that he managed to knock Wanda out with his shield. Cap is ruthlessly beaten by Pietro over and over again, told not to touch his sister. Thanks to Wanda being knocked out and Pietro distracted, Hawkeye is open to take their shot, and they hit their mark, blowing a hole in the pipeline. Cap gets a fucking great moment here where, despite having a broken jaw and a beaten and bruised body, he tells Pietro, who actually can't hear him because he's moving too fast, that he knows that he builds up heat as he moves, making everything he touches burn, which is effectively another weapon of his, and Cap is going to use it against him. Cap raises his shield and catches some of the spilling crude oil on it, and when Pietro punches it, it causes the kid to burst into flame. I feel like there's some type of symbolism there from Camp, with an American soldier shield covered in some stolen crude oil being used as a weapon. It's something I wouldn't put past Camp since he's done stuff like that in the past, and it really is a hardcore image too, and one that I really like, that he's, you know, saying something with that. Thanks to being on fire, Pietro's oxygen is sucked from his lungs by the fire, causing him to pass out. Eduardo da Costa meanwhile laments how he will miss taking Pietro's blood for himself, since it always gave him a bit of a zip, and Emma knows that their capture will be felt, as they were two of her most promising students. Emma, in a not so shocking twist, is revealed to have killed all of the other board members, having worked with Eduardo against the board members, as they knew that they were planning on trying to take him over. Eduardo tells her via telepathy that their ambition was useful until it wasn't, so really either way they were going to get fired. Emma plants some evidence that frames the Ultimates as the ones responsible for the murders, as the White King begins preparing some new young moldable CEOs to fill their place. This stuff in this book has been kind of like secret sauce for me. I love all of the backroom dealing, vying for power, Game of Thrones stuff that these characters, these makers cabal have been doing, and you know, they're the maker, their leader isn't there to keep them in check, so their like greed and lust for power is just running rampant. It's been also really fun seeing characters like Emma Frost and the Costas or the Rasputins getting embroiled in business politics, something we seldom see them do on a regular basis. There's been spurts here and there, especially through the Koa era with Jonathan Hickman, and that stuff always really interested me. As Emma leaves Eduardo's mind, it's revealed that she left Midas alive, telling the woman that she showed creativity and potential in her business practices, despite what her crippled father would say, and this is something that she can use. Again, this is a character going behind the back of their partners, trying to get a leg up, since this is totally her trying to set herself up as DaCosta's placement. She's just being very careful about it, more careful than the board members were. As Emma and Midas get ready to take over the world, Cap and Hawkeye wonder what they will do with the passed out MAXIMOFF twin, as Hawkeye wonders if the Ultimates even take prisoners. The Ultimates issue 14 pared things back to two hero team-ups, but still continue to build out a wonderful tapestry that shows the effects the Ultimates have been having on the world, their plans finally making enough waves for the elite to start to take them seriously. I fucking love all of the business politics Camp dives into every now and then, especially with characters like the elite and how Maker's absence is making them run wild with power and greed. The introduction to the MAXIMOFF twins was great, and Camp revealed just enough about them to hook you. Pair that with some great action from Juan Frigeri and some great use of physics and superpowers, and you've got quite a wonderful issue. I'm going to give this issue an 8.5 out of 10.